On today's episode of Locked On Canucks, some new Canucks hit the ice in Vancouver. Bruce Boudreau speaks to the media, jersey rankings, and unfinished business. It is Locked On Canucks, and it starts now.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Locked On Canucks, the show that keeps you locked in on all things Vancouver Canucks. I'm, of course, your host, Justin Pooney. You can find me at Twitter at _process sports. That is _process sports. Our show's Twitter at Locked On Canucks. Please also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I also want to thank you for making Locked On Canucks your first listen of the day. So it was an interesting 24 hours in Canucks time. We got to hear from Bruce Boudreau. New Canucks such as Ilya Mikheyev, Andrey Kuzmenko were on the ice at 8 rinks. Well, Scotia Barn or whatever they call it now. It's always going to be 8 rinks to me. And our Locked On experts came up with the jersey rankings in the NHL, and quite frankly, I'm not appeased to it. So I'll be voicing my displeasure on that. But first, let's talk about the immediate news at hand, which was yesterday at the aforementioned Scotia Barn in Burnaby. The Canucks held a skate that had a couple goalies and a couple skaters out there. Of course, number one goalie Thatcher Demko and backup goalie Spencer Martin were there, working with goaltending coach Ian Clark. Alex Chiasson was on the ice, as well as Canuck defenseman Travis Dermott. On top of that, there was Vasily Podkolzin, Andrey Kuzmenko, Ilya Mikheyev, and Danila Klimovich. So, based off what I saw on social media, what did we see? When we look at the video of Andrey Kuzmenko, he still needs to prove himself at the NHL level, but from the videos we saw, and I know it's early, last week he put the puck between his legs and all of that, but he's got some really nice hands and he's got a really decent shot. It's also, we saw him put on a between the legs goal, yes, in practice and an informal skate and all that stuff, but he has confidence and it looks like he has fun. As I said the other day, there's going to be an adjustment. It's going to be this and that, but he looks good. He's here early before camp. He's getting adjusted to the city, climatized, and the Russians are together. I like to see that. I want to see that. I've said that ad nauseum. Seeing these guys there all together is something that I think this roster needs. Those three guys, Podkolzin, Kuzmenko, and Mikheyev, are going to be integral parts of this roster going forward. And to have them all together and to have them working out together and stuff like that, it's just going to make it that much easier come September. The other thing was we saw Bruce Boudreau make an appearance and give a big hug to sophomore Vasily Podkolzin. And I know the Canucks posted a picture of that smile Podkolzin was giving. And quite frankly, I think most of us all can agree with on the Canucks fan bases. Podkolzin is just a likable character. We all want to see the best for Vasily Podkolzin because not only does he work hard and he's a very skilled player, but just everything about him, he has a great character about him right now, and I think that's what makes him so likable. I think that's what we all want to see him do well. After practice, there's media availability and stuff like that. We heard from Bruce Boudreau, who spoke on a Zoom call, and he had some interesting comments. Basically, he was hired halfway through the year, and he said that we want to be positive. We look at the good things that we did and build off of that, which, quite frankly, as we all know, they did a lot of good things last year. They were 106-point pace under Bruce Boudreau, which is a playoff team. But he also said there's also a lot of room for improvement. And he said that he's been talking to Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, and they're all excited and they all can't wait to come to camp. So that is what I like to see. A coach out there now, might just be a media game, but I don't see Bruce Boudreau as that type of guy. I see him kind of, say it how it is. And for him to say that, Pedersen, Besser, Miller are all ready and excited to get into town and get back ready on the saddle for camp. I cannot wait. That fires me up a lot more because I believe that if these players are fired up and they play their full potential, they want and they're committed, this team is a playoff team. He also, talked about the trade rumors involving JT Miller, and he basically said, I anticipate he's not going anywhere. And he said he talked to him last week. He's very excited. I think his wife, they're saying his wife's expecting another child. And then once that is, once, him and his wife are, situated with their newborn, they're taken care of, he will come over to Vancouver. He talked about Ilya Mikheyev, saying that he watched him a lot, video of him and stuff like that. I think that, they're really excited for all of those players to come off of. And like I mentioned yesterday on our episode of Locked On Canucks, I'm just fired up at the fact that, and I think we all can, there's now a sense of optimism around. I know it's a new season. I know that, there's still that JT Miller cloud, but that's kind of dying down right now, in my personal opinion. I'm just more looking forward towards the season to begin and to see what the Canucks will do, and how this roster forms. I can't wait to see the training camp battles, the lineup matchups and stuff like that. I've officially I'm kind of done with the JT Miller trade saga and all of that. I'm kind of done with, dealing with all that. I know it's important, and I know that it's, it has to be dealt with and has to be, talked about and discussed. But to be honest, guys, I'm just excited for the season to start. I'm excited to see how this franchise can move forward under Bruce Boudreau and how Elias Pettersson and Thatcher Demko and Quinn Hughes can elevate to the next level. I'm excited to see what Andrey Kuzmenko does, what Ilya Mikheyev does, what Vasily Podkolzin is next. I'm excited about this roster, and I think it's time that we as Canucks fans and we as, people that look at this team through a very, under a magnifying glass all the time, understand that this team has a lot of positives going for it. Yes, defense is still an issue. Yes, there are, but no team is perfect. There is no perfectly constructed team in the NHL, right? This team right here, as I look at it and I look at the Pacific Division, I think the Canucks are going to compete for the second or third spot in the Pacific all season long, and they should be a wild card team. And I'm going to keep on beating that drum. I think there's a sense of positivity around this roster and in this core, and I think that is something that's crucial in any industry you're in. When you have positive mindset and there's not that cloud, forget the media. If the guys in that locker room and in that dressing room have positivity and they think and they have that feeling that something good is going to happen and they work hard and they're excited about it, that is just more and more reason as to why this team will be successful. So I think, to piggyback off of, guys skating yesterday, Bruce Boudreau's comments this morning, in my episode yesterday, let's get hyped about the season. To continue off on that, I'm excited. I can't wait for the puck to drop. October 12th can't come any sooner in Edmonton. I cannot wait for the Canucks to get this season going, and I cannot wait to see how this team responds under a full year of Bruce Boudreau and how they go forward and potentially push towards a playoff run. So coming up after the break, we're going to talk about unfinished business and what does that mean in regards to the Vancouver Canucks. But first, I want to talk to you guys about the fine folks at BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts, including this year's opening week's games. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all of your favorite sports and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. Bet online where the game starts. And welcome back to Locked On Canucks, the show that keeps you locked in on all things Vancouver Canucks. Second segment of the show, an unfinished business. Now, the Canucks this morning announced that their single game tickets were released for the public to buy. Unfortunately, I didn't buy any. But my goal is to be back at Rogers Arena this season. As you guys all know, I'm born and raised in Surrey, BC. Moved to Toronto a couple years ago to follow my dream in this sports media industry. And I haven't gone to a Canucks game since 2019. 2020, right before the pandemic hit. I believe it was during the week that Sedin's jersey got retired. The night where, Naslin, Linden, all those guys were there. The Legends Night. That's what it was, Legends Night. And I'm going to be back at a Canucks game this year. I don't know when, but I will be back in Rogers Arena, in the building, and I can't wait. But that's not the point of this segment. This reason this segment is brought up is because of unfinished business. That appears to be the Canucks slogan for this season. Of course, the Canucks' previous slogan was kind of like their 50-year anniversary thing where, they talked about, colorful past, bright future. Well, how does this now mentally, how do we go from that colorful past to bright future to unfinished business? Well, to me, it is a symbol that this team, there's no more rebuild. They're ready and wanting to take that next step, becoming a playoff contender. Of course, last year, got off to a slow start, finished off strong, 92 points, highest point total since 2014, 2015 when they made the playoffs. So what does this symbolize? This team this year is going for the playoffs. This team this year wants to make the playoffs. There is not going to be another rebuild because this team's young core is ready to win. They're entering their primes, and you cannot take a step back. I love this slogan. I love the metrics of it. I love the going for it. I love all of that. I love it. And I can't wait for the season to start because I think that this slogan shows the direction the franchise is going in, and I think that's exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. So coming up after this final break, the Locked On NHL experts surveyed their top 10 uniforms in the NHL. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't agree. So stick around for that. And welcome back to Locked On Canucks, the show that keeps you locked in on all things Vancouver Canucks. Uniform rankings. So our lovely colleagues at Locked On were surveyed and did the questionnaire and filled it out, and they ranked the top 10 uniforms in the NHL. So I'm going to go through the list right now and tell you why I agree or disagree with it. Like you guys probably all know I'm going to disagree with it. Number 1, the Calgary Flames. Number 2, the Arizona Coyotes. Number 3, the Detroit Red Wings. Number 4, the Seattle Kraken. Number 5, the Buffalo Sabres. Number 6, the New York Rangers. Number 7, the Minnesota Wild. Number 8, the San Jose Sharks. Number 9, the Boston Bruins. And number 10, the Pittsburgh Penguins. So disclaimer, I forgot to vote in this poll. I totally just forgot to do it, and that's my bad. Maybe I should have voted, and I could have had more of a say in this. But I'm going to give you guys my top 10 uniform rankings in the NHL. First of all, the Flames at number 1 is a no-go. No. I don't like them. I don't think they're that nice. I think, quite frankly, they're kind of god-awful, the red. I like the Flames' previous ones, the ones they wore in 03, 04, those black, with the black C and all the red like that. Those were clean. I'm not a big fan of these ones. The red home ones they have right now are nice. The white ones are ugly. I'm not a big fan of those. My number 1 jersey in NHL has got to be the Montreal Canadiens. Timeless, classic. That is number 1. That is a staple. That's like the New York Yankees. That's like as much as I hated the Dallas Cowboys, the Oakland Raiders, the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is just classic, clean, crisp. Should never be changed. Never. Number 2 has to be, the Chicago Blackhawks. It's another iconic, classic jersey that needs as a staple. So that's number 2. Number 3, I think they got it right with Detroit. I think, again, I like the classic, simple jerseys. I'm a very simplistic person. I think Detroit's jersey is another timeless classic. That's number 3. Number 4, again, sticking with the original 6 theme, has got to be the New York Rangers. I like the Rangers jerseys, especially the blue, the broad. It's just clean. Again, you're going to learn a lot about my fashion taste here. I'm very just clean, crisp. It's timeless. The blue pops on TV. The red pants, all of that stuff. It's just iconic and simple. I actually do like the Kraken jerseys. They belong in my top 10. I like the blue. It's very Seattle. The S is sharp. I like it. It's very Pacific Northwest. It's very West Coast, and it's very Seattle. And I think that fits the Kraken perfectly. Next has to be the Vancouver Canucks. I know everybody hates the blue and the green with the C in New York, and they don't like it. But let's be realistic here. The color scheme matches the city. The color scheme is a part of one of the first jerseys that everybody loves, the blue and the green and the white. The logo is symbolized as the most success this organization has ever had, right? And quite frankly, I think it looks very good on TV. It looks well. It pops. There's color to it, and I think it just goes well. And I know people don't like it. People hate on it. But I think the Canucks have top 10 jerseys in the league, and you can call me biased, you can call me this, you can call me that. But quite frankly, the Canucks jerseys are very nice. And if they brought back the flying skate that we all love, that one is going to be number 1 in the league. If the Canucks bring that jersey back on a full-time basis, that by far is the number 1 best jersey in the league over Montreal. It pops. It's the orange, the black, all that. It's very nice. Next is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I like the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, I'm very big on how it matches your city that you're in, how it's in tune with all of that. The Penguins, the black and the yellow, very Pittsburgh, the Penguin logo is iconic with, Crosby, Lemieux, Yager, Malkin, all the great players that have played in that organization. That is all there for them. I like the Kings jerseys, the black and the silver. I'm a big fan of those. I think those need to be in the top 10. Again, they're simple, they're effective, they're clean. I think the Kings jerseys belong in my top 10. I like the Winnipeg Jets jerseys as well. The Navy, the Jet logo, the homage to the Canadian military. I like that jersey a lot. I think it works. I think it clicks. I'm a big fan. I also really like the black Carolina Hurricane alternate ones. I think it looks dark. It looks mean. It looks big. It's intimidating. It's imposing. And it's pops. I like those Carolina Hurricane uniforms as well. The Minnesota Wild, I think it's just kind of boring. I'm not a big fan of it. San Jose's jerseys are kind of bland or whatever. So there's a whole lot. Another couple of jerseys I don't like. I don't like the Stars jerseys. Not a big Florida Panther jersey guy. Tampa's jerseys, I do. They're all right. Colorado, I miss the Colorado back in the Joe Sakic era and stuff like that with the black pants and the black helmet. I'm not a big fan of the blue helmet and the blue pants shells. That's not really my thing. But that jersey, again, has seen 3 Stanley Cups won now. So it's done them some good, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's kind of my little talk on jerseys, and that's kind of all the time we have today for Locked On Canucks. I want to thank you for making Locked On Canucks your first listen of the day and every day. Now, your second listen, go check out the Ultimate Pro Football Preview 2022, an 8-episode extravaganza that gets you ready for the NFL season. The local team experts of the Locked On Podcast Network, plus a betting angle from Lee Sterling of Locked On Bets, all combining into one ultimate NFL preview. Search for Ultimate Pro Football Preview on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast services. Guys, take care, stay safe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.